on this programme today, we spoke to Morad Tahbaz. You might have seen the interview. She feels totally abandoned by the British government in her fight to free her father, Morad. He's being held in jail in Iran.
Roxanne and the family were preparing to welcome Morad home on the same flight as Nazanin Zaghari Ratcliffe, but found out at the last minute via the media that he was forced to return to prison instead. We asked Roxanne what she would say to the Foreign Secretary Liz Truss about how this has been handled.
She made us a promise and to bring them home, and at the very least the furlough that was agreed and publicly celebrated, at least that could be kind of executed, really. I mean, we're still here waiting and hopeful, and we're so beholden to them.
And the Foreign Secretary Liz Truss joins us now. Good morning, Ms. Truss.
Good morning.
I'll put it direct to you. What Roxanne said to us was this, that up until the point that it seemed that her father was going to be on that plane coming home with the other two, she had pretty good contact with your office, with people in the Foreign Office. But since the debacle of him being turned away and taken back to jail, she's basically not hearing anything except very, very basic statements, which simply amount to, we're doing what we can. Can't you talk to her a bit more?
Well, it is a very, very difficult situation, and my heart goes out to Morad and his family. Part of the arrangement we had with the Iranians was that Morad would be able to go to his home in Tehran, and we are pushing for that to happen. I understand that has happened at the moment. The specific issue with Morad, as opposed to Nazanin and Anousheh, is that he's also an American citizen. So the Iranian authorities are also discussing the issue with the American government, and fundamentally he won't be fully released until there is an agreement with the American government. So it's different from the situation with Nazanin and Anousheh, who are dual citizens of Iran and the United Kingdom.
As Roxanne said in that clip, she said you made her a promise he'd be part of that group.
What I said to her and the family is that we would secure his release to his home in Tehran. I've always been clear that we couldn't secure his full departure from Iran because he's also an American citizen, and the Iranians are also having discussions with the US authorities. And I know that Morad's family are also talking to the US authorities about that. That's the specific issue that we face.
She's lost faith in you see, because just as you said to Richard Radcliffe all those years ago, well, not you, but the Foreign Office, you said, don't say anything, don't go public, keep quiet, shut up. And he didn't. He did the exact opposite. He campaigned remorselessly, and he's got his wife back. She's home. And Roxanne has been told exactly the same thing by the Foreign Office. She's been told to shut up. And she's made a decision. She was here this morning on network television. She's made a decision to do what Richard Radcliffe did and ignore you. So you've lost faith with her.
Well, I certainly haven't told her not to say anything, and we've been in regular touch with her and the family over the past few weeks. The real issue here is that the American authorities are also involved in this negotiation, so it really isn't solely within our gift to secure his release in the way it was with Anousheh and Nazanin. But of course, I understand how difficult it is for the family that he has been completely unfairly detained. I've always been clear with Morad and the family that the maximum the United Kingdom could secure is him moving to his home in Tehran, because there is a negotiation ongoing with the American government. But I certainly absolutely support their right to go out and tell their story on television and have conversations. And I've never said anything to the contrary about that.
Let's move it on. Government ministers, as a rule, tend not to enter into bets or make little gambles on television programmes like this, but I'll make you a bet. I bet you that your government does a U-turn on the windfall tax quite soon now.
Well, I'm not a gambling woman, so I'm not going to go into that. What I would say, though, is that we need to make sure that we get investment into our economy, That's the absolute priority. We're facing these global headwinds of inflation.
Have said that, but BP have said publicly again and again and again in the last 3 weeks that they will make their investment exactly as planned into research and development to get away from fossil fuels. They've guaranteed they'll do that, and they say they've got plenty left over from these extraordinary windfalls to pay a windfall tax. They say they'd be happy to.
But if that's the case, if they have all this money left over, why don't they invest that in even more new energy in the United Kingdom? Because one of the issues that we're facing now is the energy price spike, because we have become too energy dependent on other countries, on imported sources of energy. So what I'd like BP to be doing is investing more in the future of energy in the United Kingdom, so we're never in this position again. That's why I think that if they've got this spare cash, that's what they could be doing with.
8 out of 10 voters in this country, 8 out of 10 want you to impose a windfall tax now, so you can help people who are on the breadline, who are running out of money as we speak. Inflation running at 9%, announced this morning. Why don't you just do it? You've got total public support for it. You've got support from at least one of the major energy companies. And it would make a real difference straight away to people. Why don't you just do it?
Because we want a low-tax economy that attracts investment for the future and protects the long-term future of our economy against these global headwinds. Of course, I really understand that people are facing a very, very difficult time at the moment. We've cut fuel duty. We've provided a household support budget for those families that are struggling. And it's a difficult time right across the world in terms of inflation, because of the appalling Russian war in Ukraine, because of the fallout from COVID. But we do need to have an eye to the long-term future of our economy and make sure we're getting that investment and we're getting that economic growth. And that also we're able to protect our energy security, because one of the causes or one of the enabling factors of the Russian war in Ukraine is the fact that Europe was so dependent on Russian energy. So what I do want to see is those energy companies focusing on helping Britain become more energy independent, so we're never beholden in that way again.
You talk about you want to be a low-tax economy. Currently, this is one of the highest tax burdens on individuals. And we have the increase in national insurance, of course. And today we've got these absolutely shocking inflation figures, and they're only going one way, up to 9%, which means that effectively people are going to be paying more for everything. Utility bills is the biggest driver. Food prices are going to become unaffordable for people. As viewers watch, they will think, well, there is one tax that you could cut. That would be VAT on fuel bills. You say that a windfall tax is not the way forward. What extra are you going to do? Because with inflation going the way it is, the current measures aren't going to be enough. Surely you would admit that.
I know the Chancellor is looking at everything that can be done to help families at this very, very difficult time. We also need to make sure that the long-term future of the British economy is positive. We've got the lowest unemployment since 1974. That's a positive thing. But now we need to get the economic growth up. We need to attract investment. And this is why having a low-tax economy is so important. We're competing for investment with other countries. We need to bring companies into Britain.
We need that's helping people right now, right? Literally,
we're
now.
Helping.
We've spoken to somebody who supplies food banks a little bit earlier, who says, you know, he's never seen it this bad. He said that even donations, of course, are dropping because fewer families can afford to add an extra item to their bill in order to help those who have less. What can you do right now for people? We know that your colleague, Rachel McLean, suggested that it was down to individuals. They could go and get a better job, better paid job, or work longer hours. Are you really putting the responsibility onto individuals?
This is a very difficult situation we're facing. The global headwinds are worse than they've been for decades in terms of the rising inflation that we're seeing around the world, the energy price spike, the food price spike. This is very, very serious. What the Chancellor's already done is cut fuel duty. He's provided a household support fund.
I'm so sorry, but we keep hearing the things that have already been put into place. The point is inflation is going up. People's food bills are going up. That existing help is not going to help them. We need more help now.
Well, I know the Chancellor is working very hard on what more we can do to support. So, and I can't make his announcements for him before he's ready to announce them.
Truss, the impression that your government is giving, if I can just put it in common parlance, is that you've got millions of people, more and more people virtually every day as inflation goes up, shouting for help. They're calling to you for help. And all they're getting back from the government, and they're getting it through interviews like this, is, yeah, we'll be with you in a minute. Yeah, we're working on it. We'll get back to you. Yeah, any time now. And then the shouts for help go louder and louder. And it's, yeah, we're just coming. We're just not seeing any action. You keep saying the efforts that you're making to think about the problem, but no one's taking any decisions at all.
I have outlined the steps that we've already taken in terms of fuel duty, in terms of household support.
That was ages ago. That was ages ago. We're talking about now.
It was a few weeks ago, Richard.
Yes, and inflation has shot up since then. As Susanna says, the landscape is changing under your feet. It calls for swift reactions, swift policies. This is a very fast-moving situation, and you seem to be stuck.
We're not stuck. We're working very hard to get the right solutions in place. We also need to make sure that we've got the economic growth to be able to pay for the support. That is really, really important. And attracting the investment's important. We do have very, very low unemployment, which is a success, but we need to build on that through more higher paid jobs in the future. So the government always has to look at making sure we're making the preparations for the long term whilst helping families through this very difficult time in the short term. Right. And that is what we're focused on.
You say that you can't, very quickly, you say you can't make a statement on the Chancellor's behalf, and of course you can't, we understand that. But on your own behalf, in the autumn budget, would you like to see a windfall tax, personally? Would you like to see it? Would you argue for it in Cabinet?
I'm not going to reveal what the discussions we have in Cabinet are, but I'm a low-tax Conservative. I believe that we need to have an economy that attracts investment. I believe that's the best way to generate the jobs and the opportunities for people in the long term. We're facing very, very difficult global headwinds. We need to bring an end to this war in Ukraine by helping the Ukrainians to win. That's very important. We need to get to the end of this supply chain crisis. We led the way in dealing with COVID, in bringing in the vaccines, which is helping deliver those solutions. But of course, we need to help families.
It's not helping people pay their food bills, but thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Liz Truss.
Thanks for your time.